Space days. When the family started out, the air was already warm and dew sung over the busy street. Sadako ran hated to the house of her best friend, Chizuko. The two had been friends since kindergarten. Sadako was sure that they would always be as close as to pine needles on the same twig. Chizuko waved and walked toward her. Sadako sighed sometimes she wished that her friend would move a bit faster. Don't be such a turtle, she shouted. Let's hurry so we won't miss anything. Sadako-chan got lonely in this head. Her mother called after her, but I was too late. The girls were already racing up the street. Mr. Sasaki frowned. Sadako is always in such a hurry to be first that she never stopped to listen, she said. Mr. Sasaki laughed and said, well, did you ever see her walk when she could run, hop, or jump? There was pride in his voice because Sadako was such a fast, strong runner. At the entrance to the base park, people filed thronged the memorial building in silence. On the walls were photographs of the dead and dying in a ruined city. The atom bomb, the thunderbolt, had turned Hiroshima into a desert. Sadako didn't want to look at the frightening pictures. She held tight to Chizuko's hand and walked quickly through the building. I remember the thunderbolt, Sadako whispered to her friend. There was the flash of a million suns. Then the heat prickled my eyes like needles. Can you possibly remember anything? Chizuko exclaimed. You were only a baby thing. Well, I do, Sadako said stubbornly. After speeches, bewildered priests and the mayor, hundreds of white doves were freed from their cakes. They circled the twisted, scarred atomic dome. Sadako threw the doves looked like spirits of the dead flying into freedom of the sky. When the ceremonies were over, Sadako led the others straight to the old lady who sold cotton candy. It tasted even better than last year. The day passed too quickly, as it always did. The best part, Sadako tongue was looking at all the things to buy and smelling the good food. There were still selling everything from bean cakes to chirping crickles. The works part was saying people with only whitish scars. The atom bomb had burned them so badly that they no longer looked human. If any of the bomb victims came near Sadako, she turned always quickly. Excitement grew as the sun went down. When the last dancing displays of fireworks fell from the sky, Shikro carried paper lanterns to the banks of the Ota River. Mr. Sasaki carefully lit candles inside of 6 lanterns, one for each member of the family. The lanterns carried names of relatives who had died because of the thunderbolt. Sadako had written Oba-chan's name on the side in her lantern when the candles were burning. The lanterns were launched on the unarrived. They floated out to sea lakes as were on fireflies against the dark water. That night Sadako lay awake for a long time, remember everything about the clay. Masahiro was wrong, the tongue, the spider, and brought good luck. Tomorrow she would remind him about that. Past days. When the family started out, there was already war and dust hung over the busy street. Sadako ran ahead to the house of her best friend, Chizuko. The two had best friends since kindergarten. Sadako was sure that they would always be as close as two pine needles on the same time. Chizuko waved and walked toward her. Sadako she sighed. Sometimes she wished that her friend would move a bit faster. Don't be such a turtle, she shouted. Let's hurry so we won't miss anything. Sadako-chan goes slowly in this head. Her mother called after her, but I was too late. The girls were already racing up the street. Mr. Sasaki frowned. Sadako is always in such a hurry to be first that they never stop to listen, she said. Mr. Sasaki laughed and said, Will, did you ever see her walk when she could run, hop, or jump? There was pride in his voice because Sadako was such a fast, strong runner. At the entrance to the Pace Park, people filled thronged the memorial building in silence. On the walls were photographs of the dead and dying in a ruined city. The atom bomb, the thunderbolt, had turned Hiroshima into a desert. Sadako didn't want to look at the first picture. She held to Chizuko's hand and walking quickly along the building. I remember the thunderbolt, Sadako whispered to her friend. There was the flash of a million suns. Then the heat prickled my eyes like needles. How can you possibly remember anything? Shizuko exclaimed. You were only a baby then. Well, I do, Sadako said stubbornly. After speeches by bullshit priests and the mayor, hundreds of white doves were freed from their cakes. They circled the twisted, scarred atom dome. Sadako thought the dove looked like spirit of the dead flying into the freedom of the sky. When the ceremonies were over, Sadako led the other string to the old lady who sold cotton candy. It tasted even better than last year. The day passed too quickly, as I always did. The best part, Sadako Drone was looking at the tanks to buy and smelling the good food. There were stalls selling everything, from bean cakes to chirping crickets. The works part was saying saying people why only wastage scars. The atom bomb had burned them so badly that they no longer looked human. If any of the bomb victims came near Sadako, she turned always quickly. Excitement grew, grew as the sun went down. When the last dazzling displays of fireworks faded from the sky, the crown carried paper lanterns to the banks of the Ota River. Mr. Sasaki carefully laid candles inside of 6 lanterns, one for each one for each member of the family. The lanterns carried names of relatives who had died because of the thunderbolt. Sadako had written Oba-chan's name on the side of her lantern. When the candles were burning, the lanterns were launched on the Onta River. They floated out to sea like a swarm of fireflies against the dark water. That night Sadako lay awake for a long time, remembering everything about the clay. Masahiro was wrong, she thought. The spider had brought good luck. Tomorrow she would remind him about that.